Hello, instrument for every child, parents, and kids. It's Mr. Joel here, and in this video, I'd like to talk about one of my favorite ways to practice on a stringed, fretted instrument like guitar or ukulele. And lots of my students will recognize and love the card game. This is where we use a deck of cards to practice finding different notes on the strings of a ukulele or guitar. It has to be an instrument that has strings that you pluck to make a sound and frets, these metal lines here, that we use to choose different sounds on the string. So for example, I can press my finger on the first fret of the first string and move my finger to the second fret of the first string, and the pitch goes up. Third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret, sixth fret, seventh fret, eighth fret, ninth fret, 10th fret, 11th fret, and 12th fret. The ukuleles you have at home stop at the 12th fret. Mine's special, so it has a few extra notes. But we can use the cards to practice finding those notes and playing them in a really fun game. To play this game, the player has to have their ukulele ready to go. That means in their lap with the back flat up against their belly and their left hand holding the neck ready to press the frets on the bottom string. And then the parent or the helper can flip up a card out of the deck. And that card will give the student and player a note to play. In this case, it's a 9. And that's going to tell me to find the 9th fret on the bottom string. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When the player plays that note on the bottom string, they get a point. But to get the point, the note has to sound nice and clear. If it sounds like this, then it doesn't count until it can sing like this. One of the tricks to make that happen is make sure that you're playing with the tip of your finger. See the line on my finger that was pressing the string? And make sure that it's pressing nice and close to the fret that you're playing beside. Let's try another note. Oh, the ace. That stands for number 1. So that is the first fret over here. Next, I have an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a point there. Now, so far I've been counting up the strings to find the notes, but you'll notice that there are these dots that are called inlays along the neck. And this actually gives you a shortcut. I know for sure that this dot right here is for the 5th fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this dot over here is for the 7th fret. So that helps me find notes even faster. Here's a number 2. When I see a joker, usually I let that be a wild card. So that means you can play whatever note you want when you see one of these. There, that's one. And a 3. Now some of the face cards, you have to figure out what their value is. Like for example, I let the queen stand for the 12th fret. That's all the way up here on my ukulele. It's this dot. On your ukulele, it's the last fret you have, is the 12th fret. And if I see a jack, I'm letting that be the 11th fret. So that's right next to it here. But if I see a king, I let that be the open string. That means when you hear open string, that's playing the string without putting a finger on to fret a note, like this. See how I didn't press any frets for that open string? That's what the king means in this game. Now to add a challenge to that, I like to add a timer. So on my phone I've got a little stopwatch and I can set it to count off 1 minute, and you want to see how many notes you can play and get a good sound out of in 1 minute, and that's your score. and you can play it over and over and see if your score gets better and better. If you find that you're consistently getting really high scores, like over 20 points in a minute, then I like to go to level 2 of the card game. And that's where you can choose, whoever the parent or teacher is, what suits represent what strings. So hearts could represent the bottom string. Diamonds could represent the second string. Clubs could represent the third string. And spades could represent the top string. Then you still let the card numbers represent the same fret, but the suits represent the different strings. That makes it a lot more challenging, but also more fun. Another thing you can do with this game, once the student has achieved some mastery over it, is to set up little decks of cards that represent musical things to practice or songs to play. For example, I'll show you the major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. In cards, it looks like this. The king represents the open string. 2 is the second fret. 4 is the fourth fret. 5, remember there's a dot for 5. 7, there's a dot for 7 as well. 9, remember the jack stands for the 11th fret. And the queen stands for the 12th fret. All together, that sounds like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. At the end of the video, I'll have a page with a few different decks that you can put together so that the student can play through different musical ideas or songs. So, enjoy the card game and happy practicing. I'll look forward to showing you some more stuff in other videos.